Jerry, congratulations and good morning.
Thank you very much, D.A. I appreciate the good wishes, and nice to be on with you.
It's kind of amazing because I think you would also agree, you were hurt in your Hall of Fame candidacy because of all of the great players that played alongside of you. And I think that there was kind of a roadblock because voters said, well, how many Packers are we going to put in? And you were kind of a victim of circumstance there. But you can't really be resentful of that, right? Because it just means that you played on a great team with tons of talent and guys got their accolades.
Man, I was very fortunate to be a part of that team. Yeah, it was a wonderful group of guys and a sensational attitude overseen by Coach Lombardi, and his brilliance and his philosophical bent and everything about him was very, very special. So the experience itself was just incredible, and I was so fortunate. I arrived in Green Bay the year before Coach Lombardi arrived, and we went 1-10-1, the worst record in the history of the Packer franchise. And then Coach Lombardi arrived, and we went 7-5 the first year, and then went to the championship game in Philly the second year. So I played for him for 9 years, and 1 year on either end without him, and retired after 11 years. So I was blessed with a wonderful coach and a wonderful team and a wonderful record.
You had been asked so many times over the course of your career about getting into the Hall of Fame. I'm sure you had an answer already ready to go every year when you were asked about it. Did you continue to hold out hope that you would get in, or had that ship sailed and you were just happy with your place in NFL lore without it?
Well, I sat down after the 97 vote. We bought shirts and had a big party and celebrated, and everybody thought we were going in, and us. And so after that, I sat down, and I was disappointed, of course. And I'm thinking, well, Jerry, the game has been so good. It's been such a wonderful experience. You've been so fortunate to be a part of this Green Bay team. And are you going to let one prize you didn't get spoil the 99 that you did get? And I said, no, that's stupid. Why would I do that? Well, we don't get angry, don't get frustrated, don't get pouty, put your lip out. Just appreciate the things that you received and the wonderful team, the wonderful coach, the wonderful things the Packer fans have given us. And so I kind of got comfortable with, hey, if I go in, fine. If I don't go in, fine. It's been a hell of a ride. So I kind of came to an accommodation with myself and my emotions and the hall. So this time when I was nominated, I looked at it as a singular event. It's just one event. It's not a series of events. And it was another compliment. It was another prize. And if I got in, fine. If I didn't get in, fine. I just got another prize. So I finally kind of learned how to deal with it, I think, and accept it. Plus, I matured a little bit, and I was tickled to death, obviously, to go in. But if it hadn't been that way, then I would have survived. I would be okay.
Jerry Krammer, NFL Pro Football Hall of Famer, is going to get inducted this weekend, which is just an awesome sentence to say. He's also raising awareness for colon cancer, and that, unfortunately, that illness claimed the life of your head coach, Vince Lombardi. So how personal is the cause, the crusade, to raise awareness for this?
It's very personal, D.A. Coach Lombardi had a huge impact on my life, and he could have been around another 20 years or so if he had had his intestinal test and Cologuard. You can remember Krammer the Guard is involved with Cologuard.com. But if he had had an opportunity to do this, he probably would have lived another 20 years. It's a very, very form of cancer. It's the second largest killer of people in the cancer situation. So it's now preventable, but you need to start getting tested probably late 40s, early 50s, somewhere in there. It's time to go to the doc and talk with him and do a test. You can do a test in the privacy of your own bathroom. It's a non-invasive test, and it really makes a tremendous sense. And once again, that website is cologardtest.com, cologardtest.com. So take a minute, think about it, get your tests done, and live another 20 years.
Jerry Krammer is our guest this morning on the show. That's absolutely a great cause. You have the ability to give us some perspective on things, and you grew up and went to high school in Sandpoint, Idaho, back in the 50s. You graduated there in 1954. What was Sandpoint, Idaho like in 1954?
It was a wonderful little town in northern Idaho on a big lake about 50 miles long and 1,400 foot deep. Fishing was sensational. Life was good. It was a wonderful place to grow up, a wonderful place to be. I got a kind of a start on thinking about professional football at that time. I had a college coach from the University of Idaho come to Sandpoint to visit some of the seniors. I was a sophomore. So I'm in the locker room, and he comes in, and he's talking to these seniors. And I go down to the far end of the locker room, and I'm taking care of some business down there. And he starts walking toward me. And I look behind me to see if there's anybody else in the neighborhood, and there wasn't. So I said, well, the guy's going to come say something to me. And so he comes down, and he kind of pats me on the shoulder, and he said, son, you're the kind of boy we'd like to see at the university someday. And I started to think, well, if I'm a sophomore in high school, and they're thinking of me to go to the university and possibly play there, maybe there's a possibility of playing after the university and playing that other game, that pro game. So I started dreaming a little bit in the Sandpoint, and we had a wonderful coach and wonderful conditioning, and we were 9-1 for 3 years in a row. Couldn't get over the hump, but great bunch of kids and a great coach and a wonderful experience.
You seem to get over the hump a little bit in football when you got to the pros. So I think you're probably okay in terms of championships and winning that big one, right?
Yeah, that was such a. Let me tell you, DA, my first game in Philly in the championship, I had a detached retina and a concussion about 2 weeks before that. And there was some question as to whether I should play or not. And I said, hey, I'm going to play. This may be the only championship game I ever get in. And I don't know that I want to miss it. So I went ahead and played with that detached retina and the concussions and all the aches and pains that were accompanying. So it was a big moment for me, and it was a very bitter loss. We had 7 seconds to go on the clock when the clock ran, and Chuck Bednarik, their middle linebacker, laid on Jimmy Taylor for 7 seconds as the clock expired, and it was incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
But and that propelled us in the future. When we got a chance to play again, we weren't about to lose another championship.
And that was the last time the Eagles had won the championship before they won in February the Super Bowl. My final question is going to be about Vince Lombardi, because Lombardi in the 60s, it's the middle of social turmoil, political turmoil, and Vince Lombardi is pretty progressive in his thoughts about African-American players, about homosexuals in society, about kind of society in general. How did that affect you and how you looked at what was going on in America during that time?
Well, he absolutely would not tolerate prejudice. He just wouldn't have anything to do with it. And if you exhibited some prejudice, you're likely to be on a bus tomorrow night or a train or a plane or somewhere out of Green Bay. But he made everybody feel like they were equal in their they were judged by their contribution to the team. They weren't judged by their color, by their height, by their weight, by anything else. If you were a contributing member of the football team, you were one of his guys, and you were one of my guys. I felt that way too. And so we judged each other with those kind of parameters, right? And I ended up rooming with Willie Davis my last year in Green Bay, and what a wonderful human being he is today. He's one of my life's pals and one of my great buds, and when I go to play at El Rey in Los Angeles, I stay at the Jerry Krammer suite in Mr. Davis's house. And we have just had a 50-year friendship from get-go, and we talked about everything, about race, about the riots, about the black power, the white power, everything. We just discussed it all and had some great opportunities to understand one another, and we became great friends. And I think the biggest thing in a relationship is the start of it. Just say hello. Just say, how you doing? Just say, hey, you okay? We got to start taking care of one another in this old planet because it's getting too much turmoil and too many problems. And so it's time for us to wake up and set up and shut up sometimes. So that's what I'll do.
Jerry Krammer is inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this weekend. Long time coming, 50 years since he retired. Always well-deserving, a member of all those wonderful Packers teams of the 60s. The website is cologuardtest.com, just like Color Guard, but without the R, cologuardtest.com. Jerry Krammer on behalf of raising awareness for colon cancer. Man, I am so thrilled for you. I am so happy for you. You are so deserving. Obviously, I know you will enjoy this weekend, but really revel it because there were so many of us rooting for you throughout the years to get in. And I always have really appreciated our conversations, Jerry. So congratulations again, and love you very much, man.
Thank you. Great to be with you, and I appreciate all the kind words. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. Jerry Krammer joining us this morning on the show.